From, the new Epix TV series, seems to make use of very interesting symbology, and in this video we will try to decode its possible meaning and how it may be related to what's unfolding in the mysterious township. Please be aware that this video may contain spoilers from the first 3 episodes of the show. Let's start from the beginning. All of the elements that we'll go over now will play a key role in our final analysis of the show, so keep that in mind. From is the story of a mysterious township located in what we believe is Middle America. The people that come across the town end up being trapped in it, and those who try to leave the town by following a straight line end up looping back into the town. How people get trapped. At the beginning of the first episode, we see the Matthews family running into a fallen tree that's blocking the middle of the road. The Matthews then run back to their RV after seeing what appears to be a murder of crows flying over them. The father, Jim Matthews, mentions that an accident that took place about a mile back is limiting their available routes. In an attempt to get back to the highway, the family ends up entering the mysterious town and ends up getting trapped in a loop that leads them right back into the town. Jim's wife, Tabitha, tells him that he drives too fast and that's why he's maybe missed the highway. The fallen tree. Another character, Kenny, later mentions that before arriving at the town, he also encountered a fallen tree blocking the middle of the road that was meant to get him and his parents back home. Kenny's mother was apparently driving while arguing about her husband's dementia when they suddenly found themselves trapped inside the town. This may imply that the fallen tree is a common symbolic obstacle that marks the people who end up being trapped inside the town. The monsters. In this town, when the sun comes down, nightmarish human-like creatures come out to hunt and savagely eat people. However, the creatures can't enter a place as long as a house or room has a particular stone with etched symbols hanging by the entrance, or unless invited into a place by someone. These monsters may appear and talk like normal people on first impression, but have a distinctive paleness, uncanny smile, and calmness. They never run to chase their targets, but instead, the creatures seem to have the ability to influence people's minds and lure them into traps by presenting themselves as dead relatives or loved ones. Once they attack their targets, they morph into ghoulish monsters with little to no semblance of humanity. The Township. The residents of the mysterious town seem to have organized themselves into 2 groups. Town towards the middle of the township and Colony House, which lies towards the edge of the township. Each newcomer, regardless of age or familial affiliation, is given the option to choose where they want to live. The people living in the Middletown area are headed by Sheriff Boyd Stevens, and the people from Colony House are headed by Donna. Colony House can be seen as a laissez-faire place full of mostly young people who choose to live freely with minimal rules. On the other hand, the people living in the Middletown area seem to have a more structured system of rules to follow that is centered around individuality. Moving over to the key symbols and themes of the show, we have motherhood and parental relationships. One of the themes that seem to be consistent throughout the show so far is conflict between parents and their children. The majority of the characters in the show seem to have some level of dysfunction within their parental relationships, and this is a topic that we'll explore more deeply in a separate video. For now, let's talk about the best part of the analysis, symbology and the possible theories about what's going on in the show. The meaning of the fallen tree. The fallen tree is a symbol that has been successfully used by the Lion King as a representation of death, more specifically as a symbol of a life that was cut short before its time. We can see this in the portrayal of Mufasa's death with the broken tree arching over him. Now, the creators of the show are undoubtedly brilliant people and have clearly drawn their inspiration from a multitude of sources. And when it comes to the way that the creators of the show have worked in the past, maybe we could reference the catchphrase from Lost. Everything happens for a reason. The township is a labyrinth. Next, we have the interesting pattern depicted in the series poster for From, where we can see that the town looks like a hoppy or curtained labyrinth. In mythology, these labyrinths are often seen as a representation of life, death, and rebirth. The symbology of a maze is also very fitting to depict the way that the people in the township are trapped, like Pac-Man. The symbols of the stone. The famous stones that the people are using to protect themselves against the monsters appear to have a combination of runic symbols etched onto them. The runes appear to represent protection from enemies, inherited land, and gods. But more interestingly, the middle rune appears to be associated with the Norse god Freyr, and his sister, the goddess Freya, who's associated with love, fertility, and war. Freya is also in charge of a mystic meadow in the afterlife where half of those who die in combat or are slain by others go. In pagan mythology, Frey is also referred to as the Lord of the Elves and the god of the woodlands. Frey was also venerated as a god of nature and agriculture, and he is associated with prosperity and fertility for crops and cattle.
Yeah, with the chickens, the cows, we don't really know where they come from.
Most importantly, Freyr is also considered the god of sunshine, which may explain why his symbols are effective in deterring the monsters during nighttime. And when it comes to Freya, Freyr's sister, one of her sacred symbols is the daisy flower, which happens to be the item that people need to choose during the choosing ceremony in order to go to Colony House, which is headed by Donna. We could even argue that the town group is a representation of the god Frey, while the Colony House group is a representation of Freya. Also, keep in mind that the symbols associated with Freyr and Freya also appear in Victor's drawings. Everything that we've gone over so far has been leading up to this moment. Everyone is dead. And here's some additional evidence for that theory. Number 1. Everyone who has shared their backstory on getting trapped inside the town so far were immediately in situations that could have led to accidents right before encountering the broken tree. For example, Kenny's mother was angry and arguing about the husband's behavior while driving before encountering the tree. Jim's wife implied that he drives too fast, and Jim himself had mentioned that there was an accident that took place about a mile back. Then we have Jade and Toby, who literally were driving under the influence and had an accident about the same time that the Matthews became trapped inside the town. With that in mind, it could be possible that Jade and Toby were involved in the same accident that led to the Matthews' death. Additionally, the show made an effort to drive the concept of guilt and the making of a mess or an unintentional mess that ends up hurting others.
I don't like him.
Why not?
Look at the mess he made.
That's not exactly his fault.
We can see this in the case of Toby before Sarah kills him. Number 2. You're still speaking in the present tense. When Christy is talking with Jim inside the RV, Jim asks her if she's a doctor, and she replies, I was a third-year medical student. When Christy asks Jim about himself, Jim replies with, I am an engineer, I build theme park attractions. Christy stares at Jim curiously, which prompts Jim to ask her, what's the matter? To which Christy replies,
It's just you're still speaking in the present tense.
Hey.
Sorry.
Sheriff Boy Stevens overhears Christy and signals her to stop talking. This could imply that the older residents of the town have a better understanding of the nature of their situation, but are withholding information from the newcomers. And this scenario may be a foreshadowing of what will be revealed in later episodes. Number 3. I will be your proxy. Fatima tells Julie that she will be her proxy, which leaves Julie confused and saying, what? To which Fatima replies, nothing, it is just a fancy way of saying that I'll keep you company. The use of the word proxy is very peculiar for the intuitive context of their conversation. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines proxy as a figure or representative that can act to represent the value of something or someone in a calculation, which could imply that the people in the town are being tested or judged. Number 4. The Tree of Life. Finally, going back to the series poster, we can see the Matthews family in the back facing the broken tree, which in turn connects to a circular crop of the town that could also be a representation of the Nordic Tree of Life, with the broken tree signifying that the life of the Matthews family ended before its time. There's still a multitude of symbols and interesting clues in the show that add yet more complexity to what may be going on, and deserve their separate breakdowns. But given the portfolio of the show's creators, the one thing that we can be certain of is that we're bound for many more twists and surprises in this show. If you would like to be notified of future breakdowns and interpretations of the show's episodes, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell.